for Tuesday, Year 5. So we know that we're learning to select, navigate, and read digital text to locate and summarize relevant information. But it's a little bit more than that, remember. We're thinking about what is the author doing that I can apply to my own writing. So yesterday we looked at the purpose of a text and we had a look at all the different features and text features that were in an informative text and how we can apply that to our writing. So hopefully you were able to use that shared reading to help you with your writing yesterday. So today we're having a look at the structure of a text, and we know and remember that when we have the structure of a text, it's how the author organizes their information. And we know that there are lots of different types of structure. The author can organize it as a description, a sequence, a problem and a solution, cause and effect, or a compare and contrast. And depending on how they structure their information or their text, it just really depends on what they want to communicate. So if they want to communicate to you a problem and then what solutions are, well, they're going to use the structure of a problem and a solution. If they want to describe something that goes into an order, so something happens in a specific order, well, they're going to use the structure of a sequence or chronological. So it's really important that we're thinking about that. So we're going to have a look at this next text and we're going to think about what structure it is and how we know. So we need to use evidence to justify our thinking. So here's our text for today. So I've got this page from a text called Earth and Space. So within this text, there was lots of different biomes, and I pulled out this biome here. Now I can see that the heading of this biome says polar lands, and I'm drawing back on my prior knowledge when I was researching biomes that's a tundra biome. So a tundra biome is those polar areas that I could find in the Arctic or Antarctic areas in the world. So I'm going to just read through some of this information. I'm already noticing that this information is actually broken up in different parts of the page. So I'm already noticing a box over here, a box over here. I'm noticing some images with some captions. I'm noticing some more pictures with sort of like more information, so more captions there, but those captions have got little subheadings. This one here, already broken up in here, says summer holidays, the ice bear, polar plants. So already I can see that the author has decided to organize his information in a different way. So rather than just paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs of information, they've been quite intentional in how they're presenting it. So I'm going to read just first of you this part here, which I'm imagining is the introduction. So I've actually navigated to there because it's got the largest title. So that's telling me that's the heading. So that's where I'm going to start. So I'm imagining that this is going to give me a little bit of an introduction about what this page is going to be about or what polar lands are. And then the rest of the information is going to become a little bit more specific. Let's see if my predictions are right. The coldest places on the planet are at the top and bottom of the world. The Arctic is a frozen ocean around the North Pole, and the Antarctica is a frozen continent around the South Pole. They both have bitterly cold winters and short, warm summers when the sun never sets. The poles are ringed by areas of tundra, there's that word. Many animals visit polar lands in summer. Many lands in summer to feed and raise their young, but only a few very hardy animals such as polar bears can survive in polar lands all year round. So there we go. So straight away, that's telling me where I will find those tundra biomes. So in the Arctic, which is in the North Pole, and the Antarctica, which is in the South Pole. So that's telling me already. So if I'm going back to my structure, I'm thinking about how the author has organized it. And straight away, I'm going straight to description. Is describing a topic, idea, person, or thing by giving specific information about it. So I can clearly see that the author here is describing the polar lands or the tundra environments. So what I'm actually noticing, I'm going to keep on reading, but I'm thinking that they're going to go into a little bit more detail in terms of what I would find in that environment. So here they've spoken sort of about how it's climate, and it's talking about the bitterly cold winters and short warm summers when the sun never sets. So that's some really interesting information. It's talking about some animals that visit the polar lands, but only a few animals actually survive living there. So I'm going to jump up to the top here. I'm going to read this one up here. Penguins at the South Pole. Penguins and polar bears never meet because penguins live only in and around Antarctica, while polar bears live in the northern Arctic lands. Penguins spend most of their lives at sea using their stiff flippers to fly underwater. Their dense waterproof feathers and thick layers of fatty blubber keep the birds warm. Penguins come onto land or sea ice in order to breed, often forming huge colonies of up to 1 million birds. So again, providing a description about the penguins. And I actually didn't know that. That was an interesting fact. I didn't know that the penguins only went down in the South Pole, so the Antarctica, and that polar bears were in the North Pole, the Arctic. That's a really interesting fact. I had no idea. So thank you to this author for teaching me something new. So I'm just noticing here some little captions that are still giving me information about these penguins. So let's have a look. A short stubby tail is used as a prop to help penguins stand up and as a rudder for steering underwater. So this is telling me this is a colony of emperor penguins in Antarctica. So obviously a group of penguins is called a colony. The chicks huddle together for warmth during snow blizzards. Their parents make long journeys to and from the sea to collect fish for them. They recognize their chicks by their high-pitched calls. Okay, interesting. All right, I'm going to go over to this part here now where it says camouflage. The thick fur coat of the Arctic fox changes color to hide the fox in its habitat as it hunts for prey such as birds or voles. This is camouflage. In winter, when the ground is snowy and icy, the fox grows thick white fur. In the summer, the white fur is replaced by a thinner coat of brownish grey fur. This camouflages the fox against the brown and grey rocks and soil that appears as the snow and ice melt. So I can see now this is an image of the Arctic fox in summer and then the Arctic fox in winter. How interesting. So that's actually an adaptation that this animal has had to make in order to survive in this biome. So to make sure that it can actually hunt for food, it needs to camouflage itself. So its fur actually changes color in the summer and the winter to be able to camouflage and catch its prey. That's very, very interesting. All right, let's have a look at this one here, polar plants. No plants grow at the snowy poles, but some tough plants live on the bleak tundra, where the snow and ice melt in summer. Simple plants such as mosses and lichens survive the intense cold, thin, frozen soils and short growing season. They grow in low cushions to keep out of the wind and trap moisture. So that's telling me that there's not much plant life in a tundra environment because it can't actually grow in the snow. The only place I'm probably going to find any types of plants is going to be kind of around that outside in the summertime where the snow actually melts in that area on the environment. So that's really interesting. I'm going to stop there because as I can see, the author is actually using lots of strategies to describe the different parts of the text. So we've got that introduction here about where I would find the polar lands. I've got the information here about penguins and how they can only be found at the South Pole. It's giving me a description about what the penguins do, where they go, how they call for each other. I can see some more animals, the Arctic fox, and it's giving me some descriptions about the Arctic fox. It's giving me some more information about polar plants. And as I can see, it's going to give me some more information about what happens in summer in the tundra, and it's going to give me some information about the ice bear, which is what I'm imagining is the polar bear with a caption that connects with it. I'm going to stop there now because we have been able to identify the structure of this text. So I'm going to now do another video that explaining to you your literacy contract tasks where you're going to create a mind map using the structure of the text.